Hi friends, once again KT is here from the channel Karthik Tuitions. In this video, we are going to start with the new concept from the Mathematics 1, that is financial plan. Now in this video, we are going to talk about GST. The length of this video will be a bit more as compared to my earlier videos because I am going to cover two concepts of GST in this video. So let's start with the video. In this chapter, there are two parts. One is taxes and other is investments. Now when we talk about investments, here we cover the concept of shares, mutual funds, insurance, fixed deposit, etc. And investment, we are just going to talk about shares. We are going to talk about shares. Whereas in taxes, there are two types of taxes. One is direct, another is indirect. Now, direct tax is your income tax, which you have studied in your earlier standard. So, in this chapter, we are just going to talk about indirect tax. Now, when we talk about indirect taxes, before 1st July 2017, there were various types of taxes, that is excise duty, service tax, custom duty, luxury tax, entertainment tax, octroi, central sales tax, VAT, and so on. Now, our country, where it is run by the government, which involves central government and state government, for the union territory, it is UT. Now, this government decided to abolish all these taxes and they introduced the GST. Now, when I say GST, the only concept of GST was that since it is a one nation, we should have one tax system for entire country. Now, GST stands for Goods and Service Tax. Now, when I say goods, I am talking about the items which you purchase, such as laptop, then refrigerator, television. When I talk about service tax, here service where we hire a service, such as when you go to any restaurant, or you take a service from coaching center, or you take a service of tours and travels, wherever, there the service tax is applicable. As you know, in government, we have the central government and state government. So basically, GST also has two components, CGST and SGST. And if it is union territory, it becomes UTGST. Now, CGST stands for Central Goods and Service Tax. SGST stands for State Goods and Service Tax. And if it is Union Territory, it stands for Union Territory Goods and Service Tax. I hope I am clear to you. Now, GST is not same for all the commodities. They have divided in a slab. So let's have a look at one chart. Now here, if you observe, there are five types of slabs where the goods and services are listed, and according to it, the GST has been mentioned. For example, the first type where it is zero rated, they all fall under essential commodity. So for essential, GST is zero. Same way, after that it is 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. I advise students to go through this chart on a regular basis so they understand what type of GST will be applicable for the goods and service they purchase. It will help them in their day-to-day life also. Now let's see how it functions. See, as I told you, there are two components, CGST and GST, but they both are equal. So uska matlab CGST SGST is half of GST. So in other words, GST is made up of CGST plus SGST. So if you have a table this way, where in a first slab, if the rate of GST is 0%, then for CGST and SGST also it will be 0, 0. For second, where the rate of GST is 5%, so rate of the CGST will become half of it, that is 2.5% and 2.5%. Then for third slab, where it is 12%, so rate of CGST becomes 6%, and here also it becomes 6%. In a fourth one, it becomes 18%, so for each it will be 9%. And for the last, which is 28%, so for each it will be 14%. I hope I am clear till here. Now let's proceed further. Now this is what you are observing is a tax invoice for the goods purchase. Now you must have seen whenever you go in a market, you get purchase some any electronic item, you get such type of bill. So let us understand what basically details are needed for a GST. Now first what you observe is the GSTIN, which is nothing else but goods and service tax identification number. Now, it is basically 15 character alphanumerical code where the first two digit is a state code. In Maharashtra, the state code is 27. Then next 10 digits are the digits of a PAN card of the company which is registered. Then 1 represents the number of registration on that PAN card. Z is uniform for all. 5 is your checksum digit. Why do we need this? See, when we mention this number on the GST portal, it will confirm whether it is valid or not. And hence that is a checksum. Now, have a look at further part. Now see, the CGST and SGST, the rate of percent is same because as I told you, they both are equal. Now CGST, SGST is always calculated on taxable amount, whatever that is mentioned. So basically, when we have to find amount of GST, always remember the formula becomes rate of GST upon 100 into taxable value. Please make a note of this formula. Now HSN or SAC code. Now see, HSN code is Harmonized System of Nomenclature and SAC is Service Accounting Code. Basically, the government has prescribed a specific code for each of the items and the service provided. So hence it will be uniform throughout the country. It cannot vary from company to company. Now let's have a look at one sum. Pawan Medical supplies medicines. On some medicines, rate of GST is 12%. Then what is the rate of CGST and SGST? Now see, this is a basic sum. Here, rate of GST is given to us as 12%, right? Now we know that CGST and SGST is half of GST. So if rate is 12%, then CGST will become half of 12, that will become 6%. So rate of CGST is 6%, which is also equals to rate of SGST as 6%. On an article, if the rate of CGST is 9%, then what is the rate of SGST and what is the rate of GST? Now see, the rate of CGST is given to us as 9%. But we know very well rate of CGST is equals to rate of SGST. So in other words, rate of SGST will also become 9%. Now GST is nothing else but what? CGST plus SGST. So rate of GST will become rate of CGST plus rate of SGST. So in other words, it is 9 plus 9 that will become 18%. So therefore, rate of SGST is 9% and rate of GST is 18%. Let's have a look at one more sum. A trader from Surat, Gujarat sold cotton clothes to a trader in Rajkot, Gujarat. The taxable value of a cotton cloth is rupees 2.5 lakhs. What is the amount of GST at 5% paid by the trader in Rajkot? Now see here. What is the taxable value given? 2.5 lakhs. Now what is the rate of GST given? 5%. Now as you know, the amount of GST is calculated on taxable value. So when we talk about amount of GST, the formula is rate of GST upon 100 into taxable value. So here it will become 5 upon 100 into 2.5 lakhs. Now when we solve this, 2 0 gets cancelled. 5 into 25 gives us 125. So the GST becomes 12,500. So here the amount of GST paid by trader is rupees 12,500. Let's look at one more sum. Now see, Tiptop Electronics supplied an AC of 1.5 ton to a company. Cost of the AC supplied is 51,200 with GST. Rate of CGST on AC is 14%. Then find the following amount as shown in a tax invoice of Tiptop Electronics. First we have to find the rate of SGST. But उसके पहले data क्या दिया है? Cost of a AC supplied is rupees 51,200 with GST. So this is a final amount which includes GST. That is rupees 51,200. Now after that, rate of CGST is given to us as 14%. Now we all know the rate of SGST is same as rate of CGST. So basically rate of SGST will also become 14%. So our first part is solved. The next given is rate of GST. Now see, GST is twice the rate of CGST. So here basically it will become 14 plus 14 or 2 into 14, that will become 28%. Now the third part is to find taxable value of AC. Now see, when they say taxable value of AC, that means the amount before which the GST was not included. Now here 51,200 is the amount where the taxable value plus GST it is. So GST is included. Now here we don't know the taxable value of AC. So we are going to take the taxable value of AC as rupees X. Now what is the formula to find the amount of GST? It is rate of GST upon 100 into taxable value. So the amount of GST here will become what? it is 28%. So 28 upon 100 into x. Now, when we multiply this, we get rupees 28x upon 100. Now, after that, the total value is nothing else but taxable value plus GST. Do you all agree? Now, what is the total amount given? It is 51,200. That is equals to x plus 28x upon 100. Now, see, understand 51,200 तो वैसे ही रहेगा. Now, denominator of x is 1 and the LCM of 1 and 100 is 100. So we need to multiply x with 100. It becomes 100x plus 28x upon 100. Now, when we add 100x plus 28x, what do we get? We get it as 128x. So 51,200 is equals to 128x upon 100. Now, the solving part involves what? X इकडे, बाकी सगळं तिकडे. So here I can say x is equals to 51,200 into 100 upon 128. Now, first we need to solve 51,200 by 28. So let's have a look of working. Now see, you need to be thorough with the table. If you are not, you can just start simplifying with the 2. Now when you start simplifying with the 2, what you get? You get 64, 56,600. Again by 2 gives us 32 and here it will give us what? 12,800. Again by 2 will give us 8 and here it will give us 6,400. Now we know here you could have directly used the table of 8 if you are not comfortable with that. Further you reduce it by 2. Basically you will get it as 400. So it will become 100 into 400, that will become 40,000. So the taxable value of AC is rupees 40,000. Now we have got the answer for the third part also. Let's move to the fourth part, the total amount of GST. Now when say total amount of GST, there are two ways to calculate. Either calculate 28% of 40,000 or you can use your presence of mind. You can directly subtract 40,000 from 51,200 to get the amount of GST. But we'll go with the basic concept. Now to get the amount of GST, we are going to use the formula 28 upon 100 into 40,000. Now, when I say 28 upon 100 into 40,000, the 20 gets cancelled. Now, since 20 gets cancelled, we get 28 into 4. Now here, 28 into 4 will give us 11,200. So our amount of GST is 11,200. Now, let's move to the fifth part. We have to find amount of CGST. Now, as we know, amount of CGST is nothing else but half of GST. So basically, once we know the amount of GST, we can easily get amount of CGST. So it will become half of 11,200. Now you should be able to divide these simple values. When you divide 11,200 by 2, you get 5,600. So the amount of CGST is 5,600. Now, as amount of CGST and amount of SGST is equal, we can say the amount of SGST is also rupees 56,600. I hope you have understood this sum. Let's have a look at the next part of the section. Now, let's have a look at how the GST comes in a picture when the business is carried out. So, here I have a chain of persons involved in it. For example, I have a manufacturer which manufactures a watch. Let's say वो मैन्युफैक्चरर होलसेलर को वॉच 200 रुपीज में बेच देता है. Now from wholesaler it goes to shopping mall for rupees 300 and from shopping mall the customer buys it for rupees 400. Now who all are involved in this? It's manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer and customer. Now for a watch the GST is 12%. तो wholesaler ने जब वॉच खरीदा तब उसने कितना पे किया? 200 plus GST. Now GST बोला तो 12% of 200, that will become 24 rupees. Now see, when wholesaler buys the product from manufacturer, it is B2B, business to business. Now, retailer ने मैं कितने में खरीदा वो घड़ी? 300. So retailer will pay 300 plus GST. So 12% of 300 becomes 36. So basically, for retailer, the price will become 300 plus 30, that is 336. Now again, retailer is going to sell that product. So basically, this transaction is also B2B. Now next comes the customer. Customer ने वो घड़ी कितने में खरीदा? 400. So it is 400 plus GST. That is 12% of 400 will become 48. Now here customer is going to use that product. So the transaction is B2C, that is business to customer. Now see, manufacturer कितना GST गवर्नमेंट को पे करेगा? 24 rupees. So for manufacturer the output tax is 24, जो कलेक्ट किया वो दे देगा. Now when we talk about wholesaler, see उसने कितना कलेक्ट किया? 36 rupees. So the output tax is 36. But उसने वॉच खरीदते टाइम ऑलरेडी 24 rupees पे किया था. So now that the 24 rupees is a credit which is already with the government. So in other words, for wholesaler, that credit is nothing else but ITC, input tax credit. So now wholesaler will pay only 12 rupees to the government. Now when we talk about retailer, retailer ने कितना टैक्स कलेक्ट किया कस्टमर से? 48 rupees. So that is a output tax. But उसने वॉच खरीदते टाइम ऑलरेडी जीएसटी पे किया था. कितना पे किया था? 36. Now this 36 will again become ITC for the retailer, that is input tax credit. So now retailer will pay how much GST to government? Only 12 rupees. So retailer will pay 12 rupees to the government as GST. Now if you just observe, 24 plus 12 will become 48 and is the same amount of GST paid by the customer. So if you observe, whatever the total amount of GST is being paid to the government is paid by the customer only. So here 24 plus 12 will give us 48. Now this is the amount of GST, and we know GST is made up of two parts, CGST and SGST. Hence 24 rupees will go for CGST and 24 rupees will go for SGST. So in your bill, if you must have observed, you always see the amount and then CGST and SGST, and total will become with a taxable value plus GST. I hope you have understood this much. Let's have a look at few sums for better understanding. Chetna store paid total GST of rupees 1,500,000 at the time of purchase and collected GST of rupees 1,22,500 at the type of sale during 1st of July 2017 to 31st July 2007. Find the GST payable by Chetna stores. अभी ये सब में देखो, they have already given us the total GST paid and collected. Now चेतना स्टोर की बात की है, तो उसने कितना जीएसटी पे किया था? 1,500,000. एंड उसने कितना जीएसटी कलेक्ट किया? 1,22,500. So here the input tax becomes 1,500,000, whereas output tax becomes 1,22,500. Now how much is the GST payable by the Chetna store? Now as you know, the GST payable is what? Output tax minus input tax. So here 1,22,500 minus 1,500,000 will give us rupees 22,000. So the GST payable by Chetna store is rupees 22,000. Let's look at one more sum. Nazama is the proprietor of a firm registered under GST. She has paid GST of rupees 12,500 on purchase and collected rupees 14,750 on a sale. What is the amount of ITC to be claimed and what is the amount of GST payable? Now here, see, what is the amount she has paid as a GST on purchasing? 12,500. So that will become our input tax credit. So for Nazama, the input tax is rupees 12,500. Now how much is the GST collected by her? It is 14,750. So that will become output tax as 14,750. Now we have to first find the amount of GST payable. Now here input tax credit to be claimed is rupees 12,500, but GST payable will be what? Output tax minus input tax. So here 14,750 minus 12,500 will give us rupees 2,250. So in other words, the amount of ITC claim is rupees 12,500 and the GST payable is rupees 2,250. Let's look at one more sum. He sold it to the retailer for the taxable amount of rupees 1,80,000. Retailer sold it to the customer for a taxable amount of rupees 2,20,000. Rate of GST is 18%. Show the computation of GST in tax invoices of sales. Also find the payable CGST, payable of SGST for the wholesale and retail. ये थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सम है, थोड़ा लंबा है, but मजा आएगा. It involves all the concept of GST concept. So pay attention to this sum. Now first, see what is given. The wholesaler purchases electric goods for the taxable amount of rupees 1,50,000. Now they have not given us GST, they have given us the taxable value. So for wholesaler, the taxable value is 1,50,000. Now उसने बेच दिया, कितने में बेचा? 1,80,000 में. सो रिटेलर को कितने में पड़ा वो 1,80,000 में, उसने कस्टमर को कितने में बेचा ₹2,20,000. नाउ रेट ऑफ जीएसटी गिवन इज 18%. तो वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट द रेट ऑफ जीएसटी एट एवरी स्टेज. ओके, नाउ सी, rate of GST is 18%. Show the computation of GST in tax invoices of sale. Now see here, 1,80,000 or 2,22,000 आने वाला है. That is what the taxable value. Now first we are going to talk about wholesaler. Now for wholesaler, the taxable value is 1,80,000. But let's find the amount of GST. Now amount of GST is what? Rate of GST upon 100 into taxable value. So here it will become 18 upon 100 into 1,80,000. Now 220 gets cancelled. So basically you will get it as ₹32,400. Now we know retailer has paid the GST of 32,400 to the wholesaler. Now we'll talk about CGST and SGST. As we know, CGST and SGST is half of GST. So here half of 32,400 will give us the amount of CGST and SGST. That is ₹16,200. So here we have got the CGST and SGST for the wholesale. Now let's talk about retailer. Now for retailer, the taxable value is ₹2,20,000. Do you all agree? Now again, GST is 18%. So 18 upon 100 into 2,20,000. दो zero cut हो जाएगा. So we'll get it as ₹39,600. Now CGST SGST will be half of this. So here it will become 39,600 upon 2, which will become 19,800. यहां तक तो हमने पहले के सम्स में भी देखा है. अभी कहानी में ट्विस्ट देखो. We have to find the payable CGST and payable SGST. यानी एक्चुअली कितना पे कर. So here we need to take the care of input tax. Now see, for wholesaler, the output tax is 32,400. बट हमने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट तो फाइंड ही नहीं किया, तो पहले वो फाइंड करना पड़ेगा. नाउ व्हेन आई से इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट, फर्स्ट को होलसेलर को वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स गुड्स कितने में पड़ा 1,50,000 पे, तो उस पे उसने जीएसटी पे किया रहेगा. सो वी हैव टू फाइंड इनपुट टैक्स एज 18 upon 100 into 1,50,000. Two zeros will get cancelled, so 18 into 1,500 will give us 27,000. So input tax credit for wholesaler is how much? 27,000. Now GST payable will become what? Output tax minus input tax. So here output tax is what? 32,400 minus 27,000. Now that will give us ₹5,400. Acha, this is a GST payable for wholesaler. Now CGST SGST payable कितना हो जाएगा? इसका आधा. So basically it will be half of 5,400. So that will become 2,700. So CGST SGST payable by wholesaler is ₹2,700. Now let's move to the retailer. देखो रिटेलर ने भी तो सामान खरीदी था, तभी उसने टैक्स पे किया था, तो उसका आउटपुट टैक्स अपने को पता है कितना है, इट इज 39,600. बट उसका इनपुट टैक्स पता है क्या? हाँ, कितना है? उसने जो टैक्स पे किया था दैट इज 32,400. तो यहां फाइंड नहीं करना है अपने को. नाउ वी हैव टू जस्ट फाइंड द जीएसटी पेएबल. सो दैट इज आउटपुट टैक्स माइनस इनपुट टैक्स. So 39,600 minus 32,400 will give us ₹7,200. Now CGST SGST is half of GST, so that will become 7,200 upon 2, that is 3,600. So in other words, CGST and SGST payable by retailer is ₹3,600. I hope you have understood this concept. If you are enjoying my video, do share it with your friends. Also like and subscribe my channel for the regular updates. Thank you.